everyone, this is Russell again. Welcome back to today's training. Now today we'll talk about something that from the outside you can be like, what does this have to do with marketing or sales, Russell? And from the outside it doesn't really look like it does, but on the inside it has everything to do with it. It helps you understand who your customers are, why they're doing what they're doing, and how you can serve them at a higher level. But first off, it's one of the things that will actually free yourself as well. I learned this originally from Tony Robbins about a decade ago, and of all the things I learned from Tony, I learned so many good things. This is the one that's by far had the strongest and most profound impact. I've probably shared it 100 times with friends, employees, people in coaching programs, stuff like that, and this is kind of the first time I've ever taught it publicly. But it's something that if you really start understanding this, you're gonna understand why you do what you do. Most of us wake up one day and we're just doing, we're doing stuff, we have no idea why we're doing it, and this helps you become self-aware of like, oh my gosh, I'm falling into this habit because of this, or I'm doing this thing because of this reason. And when you start realizing why you're doing things, then you can kind of unplug from everything and make the changes that you need. And so that's what we're going to be kind of talking about today. Now, if you've read my book, Expert Secrets, one of the things I talk about at the very beginning is the shift from growth to contribution, right? Where there's a phase in our lives where all we want to do is want to learn, we're learning, we're studying, we're growing, and we're going through this huge phase of growth. But then we want to transition over to contribution. Because eventually when you're growing, you get to a certain spot where it's like it's hard to continue to grow by just learning more, right? By reading more, listening to more podcasts. Like it's hard for me, I don't think I can read more about marketing and know more about marketing. The way now I start learning more about marketing is I transition from just growing to contributing, help other people's businesses, and as I'm doing that, then I start growing again. It's like the next phase, the next level of growth is through contribution. And so for a lot of us, we're trying to get to those two phases of like, I want to go through a growth phase and then a contribution phase. The problem is that most of us never get to growth or contribution. And we start studying Tony Robbins and 6 Human Needs. What's fascinating is that growth and contribution are the 2 needs of the spirit, but there are 4 needs of the body. And if our needs of the body are met, we never actually get to the needs of our spirit. So we never get to growth and contribution because we haven't broken free of our bodies, these tangible things that are amazing. They serve us in so many high ways, but can also hold us back at the same time. And so that's kind of what this whole training is going to be going about. It's helping you understand the 6 human needs, what they are, how they work, and how they're working right now inside of you personally. And when you start understanding that, it's like, oh my gosh, this is why I have this habit, or this is why I'm doing these negative things in my life. This is why I'm doing these positive things in my life. It helps you understand how to make the change you need to get so you're always doing the positive things that you want. And then, like I said, second phase is then it starts helping you to understand other people that are around you, help you understand your team, your customers, your employees, your spouse, your kids. And it's a really powerful tool that has meant everything to me, and so that's what I want to share with you guys today. So again, I learned this from Tony Robbins. This is not something I developed or invented, but it's something I'm very passionate about that I want to share with you guys. So with that said, let's jump over to the whiteboard. I'm going to doodle out some of these core concepts so you understand exactly how they're going to work for you. Okay, so the first thing I want to explain, and this is actually before I get into Tony's 6 Human Needs, is a concept I remember learning about, I don't know, elementary school or something, maybe it was junior high or high school, but a concept called Maslow's hierarchy of needs. You guys remember learning about Maslow? So Maslow had this concept, I'll kind of doodle it out here. He had this little pyramid here. And Maslow's whole concept that he kind of believed was that there's different tiers of needs, right? Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, there's 5 tiers of needs. And what his belief was like, you're not even going to try to get these needs met up here at the top until your needs on the level below have been taken care of, right? So for example, on the bottom level, he calls these the psychological needs. That's the psychological needs, right? So this is your need for food and water and warmth and rest. Like you have to have these things, right? If you don't have food, you're not going to go figure out how to build a house, right? Because your need for food and water, your psychological needs not been met yet, right? And so when we're first born, like we got to get our needs met. So kids are crying because they need to get food, they need to get whatever. As soon as those needs have been met, then it's like, oh, those needs are met. I can look to the next tier, okay? So from psychological moves up to safety needs. Okay, so we're trying to figure out like how do we get our safety needs met, right? So I need a house, I need a home, I need these kind of things here. After your safety needs met, then you move up to like belongingness and love. You look for your love, right? But if you're starving, if you're not looking for love, you need to eat, right? If you're afraid you're gonna get killed or some animal's gonna eat you, you're not looking for love, right? But after your basic needs are met, you feel safe, then it's like you start looking for love and belongingness and things like that, right? And from there we go up to the next level, which is like esteem. And then the top one is he calls self-actualization. Okay. Now I'm not going to go too deep into Maslow's stuff. I haven't studied it a ton, but I do know that the core concept of why I want to explain this is because what Maslow kind of talked about is that is that you're not going to focus on these needs up here until these needs down here have been met, right? So in our life, we get these needs met, and then we're able to come focus on the next tier. And when those are met, we move to the next tier, and next tier, and the next tier, right? And so one of the big problems you're going to see as we talk about the 6 human needs is that we, especially as entrepreneurs, we have these strong desires for growth and contribution, which literally are up here towards the top of where we're trying to go, right? But the problem is that for most of us, all these needs down here aren't getting met. So we keep trying to grow, we keep trying to contribute, but then the needs of our body aren't being met, and so we can't ever actually progress and move forward. So if you've ever felt sometimes where you're in a car, right, and you got one foot that's on the gas, and you're moving 1,000 miles an hour trying to get to this thing, and another foot on the brake, and you're like, and you're spinning out in circles, and you're not progressing, it's probably because of this. Your needs aren't being met at a basic level, and so when you're trying to get these other ones that are your ideal, right, your legacy, your impact, all these things you want to do, you never get to them because your other needs aren't being met, okay? So that's why I wanted to kind of share Maslow's hierarchy of needs, because I think it's important to understand that in the context of what you're going to be covering here with, from Tony Robbins' 6 Human Needs. Okay, so Tony's 6 Human Needs, I'm going to go through these, okay? Now, we have to understand is that there are 4 needs of the body, okay, and then there's 2 needs of the spirit. In fact, I'm going to change that from needs just to spirit. Okay, we're going to get into both sides of these here. 4 needs of the body. Okay. Now, what's interesting as you start going through these, you'll notice that there's all sorts of weird contradictions. It may not make sense at first, but as I kind of go through these, you'll be like, oh, that's really fascinating, okay? So the first need of the body, the first one is a thing that we all have called certainty, okay? We like to feel certain. Okay, we have to have that certainty. How many of you guys, you like to know, okay, I know where I'm going to eat today. I know I have a home. I know I have my wife and my kids, right? I'm certain about some things, right? Like that is a psychological, physiological need. Our body, we have to have certainty or else we go crazy, right? We have to have certainty, okay? Now the second need, which is kind of interesting, it's actually the exact opposite of certainty, okay? We're certain like I know exactly what's going to happen at any given time, any given moment. I know exactly what it is. The opposite is what we call variety, all right? So what's variety? Okay, well, if certainty is like we know exactly what things are going to happen, variety is like I have no idea what's going to happen. I want to be surprised. I want something excitement. I want to feel fulfilling this variety happen, right? So that's like certainty is one thing, but variety is the exact opposite. Like they're opposite. They're conflicting. Yet we need both of them. Okay, our body craves and desires and needs both of them. Okay, all right. So certainty and variety. Then move on to the third human need, which is interesting. Number 3 here. So significance is all about like I want to feel special. I want to feel like I'm somebody significant. I want to feel great about myself, right? So you feel significance, and then the opposite of significance is love and connection. Okay? Significance, look how great I am. Love and connection is like oh my gosh, I love you. I'm desiring you. You're significant, right? Putting someone else in that pedestal. Okay? So these are opposites as well. All right. Now a couple things that before I get into the needs of the spirit. They're just super fascinating to me that as Tony was teaching this the very first time to me. Okay, so we have certainty, variety, significance, and love and connection. He said, anytime there's an activity or a person or a thing that happens to you where at least 3 of these needs are met, it'll actually cause a physical addiction, okay? So I'm going to do star here. So 3 equals a physical addiction. Okay? So let me explain this to you in kind of a story format. So let's say you meet somebody, right? That's that special person. You're like, oh my gosh, she's beautiful or he's beautiful, whatever. You want to ask them on a date, right? So you go up, you get all nervous, and you ask that person on a date. And they say yes. And so you're like, cool, it's going to be awesome. So you go on this date, right? It's your first date. It's exciting. It's new. You're going bowling or ice skating or skiing or whatever you're doing, right? And you get all this variety. You're like, oh, this is amazing, right? And then on the date, the person's like fascinated by you. They're asking you questions like, what do you do for a living? What are you talking? Like, oh my gosh, you're so cool. And like, you're getting the significance like, this person really likes me. They think I'm pretty cool. I get the significance. So I'm getting variety and significance. It's amazing, right? And then that night I take them to doorstep. We like each other. I give her a hug. I give her a kiss. I get love and connections. Like, boom, this is a physical addiction. Like, I love this person, right? 3 of my 4 human needs are being met. It's causing a physical addiction, and I'm addicted to that person, right? So people say they get addicted to love. Like, you have that, right? And you fall in love, and that's what causes this physical addiction between you and somebody else, right? And so then what happens? We're in this relationship, it's so much fun, we're going to do dates all the time, we're having more fun, we get to know each other, have more love and connection, it gets more and more and more, till eventually it's like, I love this person, I want to marry them, I want more certainty, I don't want them to ever leave me, so I'm going to get married. So you propose to that person, they say yes, you plan a wedding, more variety, more significance, more love and connection, it's amazing, you get together, you get your house, you move in together, and then now you got certainty, because like every day I know I'm going to come home, wake up in the morning, you're going to be sitting there next to me in bed, and it's going to be amazing, and then you have the certainty that person's there, and then what happens? Then you're like, well, I have certainty, these needs are met, I'm feeling significant, love, connection, I'm good, and it's like, I don't really want to go on another date, let's just stay home, and you start losing variety, right? You start losing variety, and then what happens? Then eventually you're a year into marriage, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, whatever, however long it takes, and all of a sudden it's like, your spouse knows all your stories, and all your jokes, and all your idiosyncrasies, and the goods, the bads, and all of a sudden you start feeling less significant. Maybe you get less love and connection. Then you have certainty, these other ones start vanishing, start going away, right? And that's when marriages start falling apart, because you're losing the physical addictions, the physical needs of your body. It's interesting. And then what happens? Then somebody goes to office one day, and they've got a cute secretary, they meet someone at the store, and that person's like, oh, that person starts talking to him, starts flirting with him, right? And all of a sudden like, oh my gosh, I feel significance from this person. Then this is this new thing, we're going on dates and variety, and I get love and connection, and boom, marriage is split, right? Because the needs of the body aren't being met. Now it's fascinating because we will break our own values to make sure that our needs of our body are met. Like this is something that's so core fundamental, right? If our needs aren't met, we will go and try to find, we will get those needs met one way or the other. That's just, it happens, right? One thing Tony said, it's fascinating to me, he said, there's never been a marriage to end in divorce where all of the needs of the spouse are being met. Okay, so we had this really fun exercise, my wife and I were like, sit down and say, okay, Clay, how am I getting your needs met for certainty? And she's like, oh, I know every day the paycheck comes in, you're home by whatever, and like, I feel certain. I'm like, cool. How are you feeling variety? She's like, we haven't gone on a date in a long time. I'm like, oh my gosh, there's this thing that could fall apart. Like, okay, I need to give my wife more variety. Like, let's go on a date, let's go on a trip, let's do something to give you variety. Are you feeling significant? Like, no, I'm not. Like, oh my gosh, how do I make her feel significant? How do I give her love and connection? Because if she's lit up in all those areas of her life, she will never look for those things anywhere else. And same thing's true with me. So I had this conversation with my wife, like, okay, let's make sure our needs are being met, because I do not want to break this union. It's too important to me. Okay, so there's marriage. Same thing is true with any parts of your life, right? If you're struggling to say like, I'm gaining weight, I've gained a ton of weight, and I want to lose it, I can't. Well, start looking like, how are your needs being met through what you're doing, right? It's like, okay, I go out to eat, and I go out with my friends, we hang out, certainly if I call my friends that we're going to go to sushi, it's going to be amazing, it's certainty. And then I order new food every time, it's variety, it's exciting. And then like maybe I know a bunch of stuff on the menu, and I talk to the waiter, I get some significance from that. And we're hanging out, talking at dinner with my friends, I get love and connection from that, because it's my friends, my family. And all of a sudden, boom, it causes physical addiction. And we keep eating, because our needs are being met there, right? And we start gaining weight, we can't lose it. We try to go on diets, and we go on a diet, and it's horrible, it's painful, and none of my needs are being met through my diet, then it falls apart, right? Because my needs aren't being met, and I keep eating, right? So for me, it's like, if I want, let's just say it's weight loss, right? Like when I started, because some of you guys may know, I was like 30 pounds heavier like 2 years ago, right? And my needs were being met by how I was eating, it was amazing. Right? All of them were being met. So like, there's no way I was going to break from that, because my needs were being met. But then I was like, I got to lose weight. I started thinking, how can I get my needs met through weight loss? Because otherwise, I'm not going to do it, right? So for me, it was like, okay, I need variety. So I went on Amazon, started finding all sorts of like, what are things I can eat to give me variety? Because if I'm eating the same thing every day, I'm going to go crazy, right? How do I get significance? So I started teaching my friends, my family, my wife, and my kids, and other people I know, like, about the new diet things I was learning. I got significance, like talking about all the cool stuff I was doing and implementing, like the cool foods I would buy, I would tell the people about it. I get significance from that, right? So maybe in my Instagram lives, I talk about the HVMN drink that's $30 a shot that I drink, right? Why do I do that? Well, I get significance by telling people I spend $30 on these little stupid shots. I get my bone broth, right? And I get significance talking about that. I get love and connection with other people I know will start buying, and we talk about it. Like, my needs are now getting met through my weight, through how I'm living my life through a weight loss plan. Now it's not a diet. It's like my needs are being met, so I'm fulfilled, so I love it, right? And so for me, it's like I'm always looking at things now like either positive or negative. Like, why am I doing this horrible thing? It's like my needs are getting met that way. It's why I'm doing it. So if I really want to shift, I can't just like, brute force move it. Like, I have to understand, like, if my needs are met in a different way, I'm